Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Dream Setlist. We are winding down the month of March. That's right. Only 2 more days after today of Dream Setlist, and then we're going to be moving on to other stuff. Joining me today for this special program here on the 29th of March, Mr. Rick LaBonte. Look at that. He's got his Sea of Tranquility mug and his Uriah Heep mug. We are doing Uriah Heep today. That's what we're doing. So what do you got? Like coffee in one, tea in the other, or you got like rum
water and coffee? Yeah, caffeine and H2O right there.
There you go. There you go. So Rick and I were talking recently, and he's like, Pete, I would really love to join you for one of these Dream Set Lists. And I knew which band would be the perfect one because he and I are both massive Uriah Heep fans. So we figure, why not do that? So that's what we got today. Uriah Heep Dream Set List. Remember, guys, the rule of this show is there really are no rules. So basically, you create the list of songs. Could be songs you've heard played live by the band before, songs you never heard them play from any lineup, any tour, any venue, any year, past, present, future, totally make believe. You can bring people back from the dead, whatever you want to do. We are in the driver's seat here. So as always, I'm going to have my esteemed guest kick us off. So Rick, let's hear your Dream Set List for Uriah Heep.
Right on. Well, first of all, thanks very much to let me do Uriah Heep of all bands. You know how much I love them. And I have my copies of the Astro set list. Some of them, they're so great. Like this one, you love this one, Shadow of Grief. I know you love that stuff. There's a couple other set lists I got when I was in Ohio. This was a great one. First time seeing them do Return to Fantasy. Many other great ones. Rainbow Demon, one of your favorites. Yep. And then I saw them in Sheffield in UK. So I saw them 2 times in Canada, 1 time in US and once in UK. And so making a dream set list, I could do a lot of things with that, right? Being a collector like yourself a long time. But I saw them in 1990 for Raisin in Silent tour. Then I saw them in 2018 for their Outsider tour, and then 2 concerts from US and UK of Living the Dream. And so, but I can't honestly think I saw more than that, because you look behind me, I got a bunch of DVDs that they put out, you know, from Byron period, where back in the day when the 80s, when Bernie joined the band, and many DVDs that they've done right up to the lineup presently, all the live albums that they put out from the 70s to the present. Of course, I got some bootleg stuff that I'm always curious how they play Salisbury live and stuff. So I had to get that, of course. So when I was thinking about making a set list, I had these in mind because, you know, for example, you know about these people, around 2000, Uriah Heep started making lots of DVDs, and they did this Magician's birthday concert where they brought guests. John Lawton came in this one, Ken Hensley. In this particular show, we had guests like from Mostly Autumn. Heather came and performed. John Lawton came to this one. The original drummer that played in Look at Yourself, the Tongos, and showed up in this show. This one was one of my favorite too. The acoustic driven, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull makes a guest. So when you hear all these deep, because they always put deep song that you don't hear that often, and I had to keep that in mind. So what do? Do I go on a Peter Pardo time machine and try to capture some of this? Do I go and see this album being performed live? Because it's one of my favorite things. You're wearing the shirt, I might add. And I could have went, you know, I could have went to the Sweet Freedom tour, the Wonder World tour. I love John Lawton's voice. I could have went to Europe, maybe Germany, kept one of these awesome performers. But I figured that you might go on the time machine like you have been. I'm going to go on a time machine, but not too far. What I'm wearing right now is Uriah Heep, 1970, still rocking that for all these years. And so I thought, why not we do the 50th anniversary party that didn't happen because of COVID 2020. And I'm picking a date because I actually had tickets for this. It was actually October, I believe it was, in London. And I had tickets for that. And I'm going to pick the date, like move it to September, because Lee will still be alive. Ken Hensley will still be alive. And if we can have an anniversary party, my friend, those cats got to be there to celebrate, right? And so I kept that in mind. So I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to have a big party. And this one's a little big because a lot of people are volunteering. We got people like Martin from your show sending photographs to help him with his book coming out. He gave him some free photographs. We have companies like this saying, we'll help you do the best DVD you ever made. So they now made it a whole weekend plan. They're celebrating 50 years. At the same time, they're gonna release a sneak preview, because in 2020, they released our box set, 50 album. So they're gonna do it this particular year, this weekend. It's gonna be a Friday, September 4th, and a Sunday, 2 shows to complete, because the whole thing is for fans only, that people were like myself and you that would travel around the world to see this show happen, because it's headlined that Uriah Heep, present and past members are coming to celebrate. 50 songs going to be played in this weekend. 25 on Friday, 25 on Sunday. No repeat. And they also made it available for fans to vote for a song to be played on the set list. They don't tell you when, but it's a vote. And I know that I got that idea from the Rolling Stones. They go to a concert, they had a list of songs. They did that
when I saw them. Yep.
Yeah, and they made it that you had to text your song of choice. So this was what they decided to do. If they had the most favorite requested song that wasn't on their set list, they would add it in, and that was the agreement. So nobody knows the answer. So now, so I'm going to start with 2 nights real quickly, explain that the stage is going to be the same for Friday and Sunday. And they're doing this because of the vocal rest between the 2 nights. The guys are working really hard because Mick Bach will not leave the stage from the start to finish on both nights. Russell will be there doing his drums, right? Joe Burke will play the drums, and he's there to support. But there's another kit beside him for people of our guests to come up and play when they feel like it. And Lee's health at that time, he may do a few songs, he may not. It's his choice, but it's there. Beside that, Phil will play the keyboard, piano, always be there to back up because he's also the harmony guy. But we also have the keyboard set for Ken Hensley to play, plus his guitar for slide guitar that he features in the set. And he can play, come and go as he sees fit. Any song that he had recorded, he's welcome, right? And of course, the bass player, Davey Rimmer, he's playing bass, but he prepared to step off when we bring certain guests that kicked over some of that spot. But they're there to work out for all the guests. If all the guests were unsure of themselves, they were there to back it up all the time, because they're the band that is carrying a banner, and they're passing the torch, and they definitely got it blazing hot. Russell and Davey are really exciting to watch on stage, especially when you got the left hand bass and the right hand guitar player playing like it's knights and swords between one side and the next stage. And David got this where he lights up the fretboard when he plays. So it's the usual thing that you expect for Uriah Heep, but what you don't know is what song is coming. So now it's Friday night. The crowd is in the theater, and I picked I'm going to hope I say it right, London Papadium. I think that's how it's pronounced. That would be the suitable theater that's big enough for the drawing power that they have, but enough to be great to capture footage and DVD to leave it there for a couple of days. So Friday night, we start off with, as the crowd gets in, there's a big giant screen in the back, and it's gonna serve the whole anthology of Uriah Heep. The reason why I picked this set list, because I could easily go back in time and see some of my heroes perform. But I'm hoping your audience will get to hear about the album that people just don't know about. And if I got to go through all these albums to some degree in 50 songs, that way they give justice to the people that actually put more time in Uriah Heep than the people that some people even know. They just know from Demons and Wizards, maybe up to maybe High and Mighty. But there's so many albums that came after that due to recognition, and I'm going to do that with my seller. So this is the history of Uriah Heep celebrating 50 years. So while they're doing that, the crowd is waiting. A film comes up, and it's a big quote that you've seen famously, and being a writer like yourself, you know about this one, that a critic says, if this band gets famous or makes it, I'm committing suicide. Well, they show that quote, and fire burns it up because the song, You Can't Keep a Good Band Down, starts playing. And it runs through a whole imagery of the band from the beginning, from Spice down to Uriah Heep first album, and they're flashing through the whole time. So in that whole course of that 3-minute whatever song that is, they're giving you a taste of the Uriah Heep, 50 years on the film. And so as they went forward with all the albums, they go backwards, and the first thing they leave on the screen is the very first album, okay? And so anytime I show we're on an album, they will show some footage or pictures of the people in that time, whether the headline sold out show or if it was just a photograph of the band, who was on the album, that kind of stuff happened. So this comes right up on the screen. Everybody knows what they're gonna start off this first album. They click in Gypsy. But Gypsy has a full cast. Everybody that's performing Friday is on the stage for one song. Kind of reminds us of what I know you've seen the Yes Union, where everybody's present on stage. So it's a full cast. And you know how the song goes, dun, 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 dun. Light is flashing on all these respected people. You don't know all the cast yet. The light is flashing on until the video shows the screen, and the very first voice you hear is David Byron. They showed just a video clip of the first verse of Gypsy, and they take that from the live show in Japan. They use as a dub video, and they use just his voice. And then the next verse walks in John Lawton, who sings the next verse of Uriah Heep because he was the next singer. Comes in a guest that you won't see till Sunday, but he comes in for the very first song. In a verse during the song is Peter Goldby, which nobody even know he's been doing anything. He's been kind of like fall off the face of the earth to a lot of fans, and it was really a big deal to see that. And of course, Bernie would be singing, and so everybody's on stage. You got Paul Newton on bass. You got Ken Hensley. Lee Kerslake plays on that second drum set through all that while Russell doing all the muscle. And so it's everybody playing Gypsy, just a one solid tune. Soon the song ends, and as everybody waved to the stage, Paul Newton stays on because he played for the first 3 albums. Davey would leave for him to continue playing the bass, and but Lee Kerslake starts the drum set, Walking in the Shadow. And Walking in the Shadow, Bernie's staying on stage, the rest of the guys left. It's just Bernie singing the song. So Walking in the Shadow comes in. And of course, as they start spinning, they bring in the next album. And of course, they show the other one from the United States, just a couple of different album covers of that. But Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey comes in and everybody's singing a storm. And with Ken Hensley and Paul Newton playing on stage with the Uriah Heep. And then as they would leave, Ken Hensley comes up through the acoustic in the middle of the stage as they're doing stuff in the background. He does The Lady in Black, because that is his song. He does sing that. And so he gets to sing Lady in Black and get everybody going. As they do that, they're getting some preparation happen behind the stage. So he sings Lady in Black and everybody's just in the palm of his hand. He's actually being emotional that everybody's singing in such large, and it's like only the 4th song and everybody's so well into it. But again, this is a fan-only weekend. Tears in My Eyes is the next album they show as they do Look at Yourself. He picked up the slide guitar. Ken Hensley stays on the guitar and plays for this particular song. And so I love Tears in My Eyes, and it's just a great tune, and they do it so powerful. And then of course, just as the light starts to die down right at the end of that song, and everybody, starting to feel a pattern, maybe a couple songs from every album, Ken Hensley goes up and says, "There's so much. Thank you for making 50 years, and I appreciate Mick for carrying the torch all this time. And we knew we had something good when we came up with this." And when July morning, right? And the crowd is just in the palm of the hand, the lighting, everybody got their phone, lighters, whatever. It's been a very powerful performance as Bernie and the boys can pull off. And so this is when Paul Newton would leave and David would start coming back for the next album that they featured Demons and Wizards. And Demons and Wizards, Bernie said, you know, we put out an album called Demons and Wizards. And everybody going nuts, you know how you can tease him out like he does. And he says, well, this song's about the demon. Of course, Peter Pardo's favorite Rainbow Demon comes in. And then, of course, they perform that. And again, Phil and Ken on the two keyboards, they got the whole sound. They don't, in fact, it sounds like the album more because of all that dubbing that they wouldn't normally do live is on there. So he said, well, we talked about a demon, let's talk about the wizard. And that's when Mick would come with the acoustic guitar, play the wizard. And of course, all this time, they're showing you the imagery of all the success that they had in this album, going around the world in a jet, and all these very little footage that they have, they show it all on this show, just to make sure nothing was missed. So right after that, you know what album coming next? Magician's Birthday, they come up with Sunrise. And I know I hear that almost every show, but I love it to death. And it's just a great atmospheric song for them to capture the mood. And at this time, Roger Dean, who done a lot of their artwork, have helped brought in an animation film where you show the wizard and the demon, the rainbow demon on this album cover. And so we're starting to see those two albums collide back and forth between the two albums with his artwork. And that's what they did. So they kind of did a tribute to Roger Dean's contribution in that particular footage behind the wizard. Sunrise. And then of course, Magician's Birthday, which I got to hear them do that live, which is one of my favorite things ever. They did it, and they have the actual animation of the magician fighting the big powered evil dude that comes in to invade the party. And it's John Lawton. He comes in and they're doing a dual war with Bernie, back and forth like they've done live before. And it's excellent to watch, and it's very theatrical. Then of course they would do Sweet Freedom. And as they showed the Sweet Freedom, they start off with Pilgrim. They come up with that song, and that song is kind of a deep cut for a lot of people. And the Uriah Heep is standing on their feet because many bands never seen them pull this off live. So a lot of fans never seen it, so it's nice to see it happen. And then another song I like is sort of they have done it once before, and I was very surprised, called If I Had the Time. And it's a beautiful song with Ken Hensley. And Ken Hensley wrote a talk about where he was when he did that song. And they let him sing it. They let him sing it like he does solo. They let him sing it. And of course, in the bridge, Bernie comes in, sings with them on the bridge. So that was what they did for this album. Then comes next is Wonderworld. And as they do Wonderworld, they put the album out. They do a little tribute to Gary Thing because this was his last album. And they did a film showing a little bit of his mark and his part in the band. As they perform Wonderworld, you see a lot of Gary in the background in the film. And then they come up with So Tired. They come crashing with So Tired. Everybody's on their feet. Just as you're starting to catch your breath, they didn't leave you with very much of a pause with Turning to Fantasy. And of course, the title track. And, Bernie's singing the storm, doing what he does. But on above, they did a short little video recognizing John Wetton, who played in that band for only 2 albums, but he had passed away. So it's almost like nobody is forgotten in the Uriah Heep story. And so they made sure that his face showed up a lot in the footage behind these songs. Okay. So, High and Mighty. Oh, I didn't mention that after we turned into Fantasy, they did Shady Lady. And I always wanted to hear him do that song. I saw footage with David Byron, but it would be nice to see Bernie and them guys do that song. So High and Mighty comes up, and they did, this time they did Weep in Silence. And they make a big deal about it because it's not performed many times live. And Bernie and Ken Hensley sang to John Wetton's vocal, some of the parts that he did. And out of respect, and the High Mighty cover was on the whole time that song came on. And then the next song they did was Misty Eyes. But Misty Eyes now had a video that featured David Byron, because this was his last album on Uriah Heep. And we know we lost him in 1985. So they did a lot on the greatest, one of the greatest showmen ever. And it had headlines that said that, and let him know that, that he was respected. And so that song ended with David Byron on stage. And he's got one famous pose that he has that's kind of on Wonderworld, where he just got his chest out there. Anyway, so that's next. Then Bernie said, well, you know, David wasn't the only singer on Uriah Heep. And the audience had already know, because I saw John earlier. He comes and do the Firefly. So Bernie now gets a rest. He's off the hook for the next 3 albums that they're gonna show, is because John has a big part in this history. And during this, he did one of my favorite songs in this whole album is Been Away Too Long. I just love that powerful scream and that power. And he just, you know, got amazing pipes, and he just sang his heart out. He wanted to make sure everybody, if you didn't know who he was, you're gonna know who he was by the end of this few songs that he does. So he does this song, and then the next song they perform from this album is Rolling On. And as they do Rolling On, they recognize Trevor Bolder, who has passed away. And he was, first time he came to the band was this album. So they put a little video recognizing his work. They just show a lot of him. It's not the real video, they do that again, but they show a lot of him here, because this was his time where he came into the band. And as you know, he did play a lot in the 90s and late 80s. So this Rolling On had the crowd going on. They died down the music, and they're still singing, rolling on. And he just kept singing, and we just do like the Freddie Mercury thing, where the audience was in the palm of his hand, kept singing. And even when they thought the song was over, they kept going. The enthusiasm was so real. So John was feeling really great about it. And he mentioned the next album, which is Innocent Victim. And they did the song Riding High. And it's just the one song they did in that particular, from that album, because they did 2 more from this album, which is Fallen Angel. And the song they did was I'm Alive. I love that song, so powerful. And Falling in Love. So when I was going into 23 songs here, they're up to 23 songs. They ended on this. They walk off the stage, so the crowd is going to be cheering for more. It's obvious they're going to be an encore. And they said 25 songs. So anybody was counting, they knew with 2 more coming. So they come back on stage, and Ken Hensley, John Lawton, Paul Newton, but they brought a guest with it. I'm not going to play anything from Conquest, but they brought Chris Slade to play the drum that Lee is not long. He comes in to play the encore's tune. And it wasn't from that album. It's actually only 2 albums do not get mentioned in this whole story. And that was one of them. They just, they did Look at Yourself as the encore song for, and during the drum part, Russell and Chris Slade did a drum solo where they would do the jazzy thing where they trade off back and forth, like Buddy Rich did in the day with Gene Cooper or stuff like that. Just trading off, what a way to go. And just as the song come to the end, Ken Hensley, everybody that was there all night, comes out to sing Easy Living. And the only difference is Paul Newton is singing Easy Living backup, Davey back on the bass playing for that encore. So that's Friday night. They end with those 2 tunes, and the crowd know that they're going to come back Sunday to continue the story. So Saturday is a meet and greet. It's a Heap convention. You're allowed to go there a certain time, pick up your some of the collector's item stuff, or if you're one of those fans, you got a sneak preview of that box set, you can pick it up. But Sunday comes around, it's September 6th. Again, the crowd is dark. The opening song is now Living the Dream, because that's what it was like for 50 years of being Uriah Heep. They play the whole song, and they're doing, again, a video showing all the stuff now the 80s present up to the date. You know, it's showing a lot of the MTV, showing you where the time is, because that's what they did throughout this whole show. When I talk about these albums, they would kind of show you some of the fad and trends that were going on at that time. And so they had Living a Dream. But the very first song with Chris Slade on drums, with Russell side by side for Too Scared to Run. They're gonna perform, obviously, this killer album. What a great way to come and return full throttle. But they brought somebody else to the party. Not only did they come out and do Too Scared to Run with Chris Slade, and they played Chase and Shadow, that Bernie said, we like to bring some friends that actually played on this record. Bob Daisy comes walking on stage. Peter Golby comes on stage, and Lee Kerslake do get on a drum for the next two songs to play along. Russell's there, but he's there to play along and do his harmony that he does so well. One thing for sure, Lee may be a little bit physically, difficult at that age, but he can still sing like a canary. So they did The Way It Is and Sell Your Soul, where Peter sang the whole thing the way it is by himself on his own. And then they did a song from this next album, which is Out the Other Side of Midnight. Again, Peter and Bob Daisy's on there, and they show a clip of this album during the performance, but they don't play no song from this album. Okay. Then Peter's still on stage, even though they're gonna bring songs from this album, Raising Silence, where it all started in CD world for me, for Uriah Heep. Blood Red Roses is actually written by him. And it's a song that left over. And so they allow him to sing that with Bernie. So they share that vocal responsibility because he had, a hand in the way that song was written. So they performed this song, and then Bernie would take over vocally for the most of the show, in this set especially. More For You, When the War Is Over. And then they brought in the next album, Different World. And this is where the tribute to Trevor Boulder really kicked in, because they do that song Blood on Stone, and that was his song. And they showed a lot about his presence and his role in the band as they performed this song. And they also did that song I love a lot. It's called Different World. Again, two great tunes from this album. One of my favorite of the 90s. There's a lot of them actually, but Sea of Light, Uriah Heep. Again, Roger Dean's work here on the cover, who's famous for the Yes artwork as well. They do the Against the Odds, a great opening track, and they did the song Time of Revelation. Next, and they, and getting the audience love it. For those fans are real fans, they know these albums are very strong, and they're just as exciting as hearing the stuff from what they did in the previous night. But for this album, it's between Two Worlds and In the Moment. It shows us the strength, and it shows us the credibility. And not one of these songs are being repetitive. It's just showing you the different texture of the writing ability. Of course, this monster album. Again, this was a great record. For those who wouldn't know that these guys, getting older, they rock like the young guys out there. They just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the performance. And Wake the Sleeper, Tears of the World, and Wake the Sleeper is my choice for this stuff. So of course, the album shows on the background as they're performing, they learn more about this band. And again, the next would be the Into the Wild. Oh, that's one of I got a lot of them they signed for me. Nail on the Head, which is a great tune, great opening track. And then I'm Ready, really strong song. They do that really well. I'm glad I got to see them perform that live as well. Then the Outsider tour, the tour I saw them for the first time in London, Ontario, in Canada, where they asked me, I got to sing with them in sound check, and I got to do the encore with them. Well, this was a great album, and they played my favorite one from it. 1 Minute, I really like that. And Is Anybody Gonna Help Me? Great tune and great album. And again, this is where the current lineup with Davey Rimmer on bass and Russell Gilbert, who played a couple albums prior to that, but that's the lineup that's been keeping the dream alive right now. And so they definitely want to showcase, and they have a video out, so they show those actual videos behind the screen as they perform. And of course, the last latest album, because I talked to Davey and they're recording another one this year. And even in your show, you did an interview, they're working on it. They think about the fall. They think it could be ready by the fall, but what a masterpiece. You know, they never cease to amaze me. Every three, like our last three albums, it's just been like so powerful, so potent. It's almost a crime that people don't know how great this is. Anyway, this is a great album, and they play the two obvious songs that are very popular. It's Taking My Soul and Grazed by Heaven, with Davey Wimmer wrote that song with Jeff Scott Soto. He co-wrote with that. And so they showed his picture on there as they show him and Davey working. I don't know if that footage actually exists, but in my dream set list it does. But anyway, so now they say, okay, we've been told that you guys have voted for a song. What will be the song for 23? Then you know, it looks like a spinning wheel going on, and it comes out Traveler in Time. Nice. They said, okay, Traveler in Time. Ken Hendy comes back because he has the ownership of that song.
Of course he does.
He comes up and joined, but he grabbed another guitar with him while he does the keys, and of course, our buddy does the wah-wah. So they perform that, and they walk off the stage. Crowd is, I mean, they knew they gave it all. No one would be upset if they didn't come back because they gave it everything. But the crowd didn't want to go, and the full cast come back. Everybody from Friday, everybody that is there Sunday is here for the last two songs, and not all of them playing. Davey Wimmer is the only one playing bass. In this case, the only drummer is Russell, but a lot of them are huddling around for the choruses, right? It look like the We Are the World kind of thing, like they do in Live Aid or whatever. Everybody hovers over the stage, but the lead vocal in this one is really John Lawton, because Free and Easy comes out kicking, they just jump on the stage, and he just sang his ass off, and the crowd is just having a ball, and everybody's all arm in arm, and it's just like a big solidarity, friendship group of hugs that's all around going free and easy, and just singing their hearts off. And you know, just when it couldn't get better than that, as soon as the song ends, you go, you guys got one more on you, and of course the crowd went nuts, Stealing. The ultimate song for all of them to shout, stealing, one, two, bing, bang. So they did that, and the whole, you know, everybody that was there got to be a part of it. And so as they said goodbye, you know, everybody walked off the stage. They left the original former members there on their side saying goodbye. They take their bow, they walk off. The 80s guys that were there was Bob Daisy and all them. They would take their bow, go. And of course, the guys that are holding the banner today, they're the last one to take a big, you know, bow. And they thank, and then Mick, who's choked up for words, goes up to the microphone and thank you very much for happy days all through the 50 years. You know, all these friends of mine, all these people that helped make this story happen. Thank you very much. But it wouldn't happen without you guys, and everybody, you know, we're giving applause back. It's just one of the longest standing ovations you could have. People just wanted to let them know that this was an awesome show. Thank you so much for the memories. And they walk off on you know, a high note. And of course, you people will still be singing Stealing in the hallways as they're walking out in the parking lot, going to the cars, driving home. Everybody has that memory in their head of having a full cast of Uriah Heep given 50 years of their celebration. That's it.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. Good night.
Yes, you know,
I mean, seriously, how do I follow that? I mean, I don't even know why I should bother. Man, that's like,
you get the time machine. I don't have that. I only go into 2020.
But you assume that I'm using the time machine. I am actually not using my time machine today.
Oh, wow.
I'm not using my time machine. Although, like I said, I don't think I can follow that one. But so I'm actually going to go 2022 when hopefully COVID dies down, the band gets back out on the road. They actually want to do that 50th anniversary tour show. This is going to be a show that they didn't get to do. It's going to be a little late, but they're actually going to do it. And I'm actually going to buy a ticket to go across the pond to the Hammersmith Odeon, where they're going to have the London show. Okay.
Nice.
And this is going to be called, and they're not going to call it the 50th anniversary or anything. They're going to call it the Clean Out the Attic Tour.
Wow.
Gems and rarities. Okay, this is with the current lineup. All right, so basically, you got Mick, you got Bernie, you got Phil, Russell, and Davey. All right, plus maybe a couple guests. Right, so the show's going to start at the Hammersmith Odeon. Full headline show, no opener. Before the band comes out and does anything, you're going to get the video screen's going to come up, and you're going to see, in memoriam, right? And you're going to see David Byron. You're going to see Lee Kerslake. You're going to see Ken Hensley and Gary Thane and John Wetton, Trevor Boulder, all up there. Okay. Bernie's going to come out. Actually, no, Mick is going to say this. Mick is going to come out, and Mick is going to get on the microphone. He's going to be like, hello, how are you? This show is for all of them and for all of you.
Nice.
And then the band is going to burst into Birds of Prey from Salisbury to start off the show. From there, they're going to go to Walking in Your Shadow from very heavy, very humble. From there, so again, the theme of this show is going to be hidden gems and rarities and some hits. Okay, so a lot of stuff that may never played live or haven't in a long time. Song number 3 is going to be Dream Mare from the first album.
Great.
Then we're going to go to the High and Mighty album for One Way or Another. From there, we're going to go a little bit Misty Eyes from the same album. From there, we're going to go back to Salisbury for Time to Live. Going to get a little heavy here. We're going to keep it heavy. We're going to go to Shadows of Grief from Look at Yourself. We're going to keep it heavy. From there, we're going to go Rainbow Demon from Demons and Wizards. All right, so a couple of my favorite tracks there, back to back to back.
Sure.
From there, we're going to go to a cool session track from the Demons and Wizards album, Why, with an extended guitar solo from Mr. Box on that.
That's
They
a great
ever played that live? Probably never, right? Great song. From there, we're going to go to the Magician's Birthday album for a song called Blind Eye. A little bit acoustic guitar, going to have a little fun with this. Very sing-along song. From there, we're going to go to another real rare song. The B-side to Stealin' from the Sweet Freedom session, Sunshine.
Good song.
Great song. I love Sunshine. A lot of fun.
So do I. I don't know. I'm surprised it never got on the record.
I don't know. Some of these songs, some of their leftovers is like, it's amazing how they never made it to the regular albums. From there, we're going to go to the title track to Wonderworld.
Nice.
Next, we're going to go to the Return to Fantasy album for Devil's Daughter.
Love that.
Well, they're going to say, we've got a friend to join us for a couple songs. Out comes Mr. John Lawton for a little The Hanging Tree from the Firefly album. Then they're going to burst into Free and Easy from Innocent Victim. They're going to tear the house down. Okay. John's going to say his goodnights. They're going to say, well, but hold on a second. We've got another old friend that's going to come out and join us for a couple tracks. Mr. Peter Golby, who, like you said, we haven't seen in a million years, is going to come out for a little Sell Your Soul from Abominog and Think It Over from Abominog. But wait, he's not going anywhere, because just like you, I'm amazed we're on the same page here, he's going to sing dual vocals with Bernie on Blood Red Roses from the Raging Silence album.
All right, buddy.
Peter's going to take his bows. He's going to go backstage. Next, we're going to have a little See a Light action for Words in the Distance.
That's a good one.
After that, now the newer albums are coming into play here. So now a little Overload from Wake the Sleeper.
Yes.
From Into the Wild, I Can See You. Another great song. Love these songs. I love the new albums, the last bunch of albums so much. And then we're going to go for a couple tracks from Living the Dream, which you also have at your show, Grazed by Heaven and Take Away My Soul. I mean, those in my mind, those are already classic Uriah Heep songs. I just absolutely love them. And then everybody's going to come out. They're going to rip into Stealin' from Sweet Freedom. They're going to finish the regular part of the set with Look at Yourself, the title track from the album of the same name. They're going to go backstage, crowd's going wild. They're going to come back out for a little extended encore. We're going to hear a little Sunrise to start it all off with, right? From there, we're going to go, the acoustic guitars are coming out. We're going to do a little Lady in Black. Everybody's going to sing. The entire audience is going to get in on this one. And then from there, the electric guitars come back out. Of course, the famous Hammond organ start to Gypsy, the thunderous power chording, right? And then, of course, the last song of the night, it's got to be Easy Living. Everybody's out, taking their bows. Mick, thanks everybody for 50 plus years of Uriah Heep, but we'll see you again real soon because we're not done yet. That's
great.
A little fodder for the next tour and the next album and all that stuff. So,
well, then me and you are going, because then I won't miss that show. I got 2 years to plan.
This one we can do, right? This is
we're doing it. We're doing it, buddy. If we get a chance, we are doing this. I already have that ticket that was for last year's show. I still have it, but I don't know if it's gonna go forward or not. But they moved it to I think November or something like that. But I still got tickets for the last year's show. That didn't happen. But if not, 2022, you said? It's doable. Oh, by the way,
Mick told me personally, he said that due to the, how well it went opening up for Judas Priest, he goes, I think we're going to come back and maybe try and headline some of these places.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, which one, if you saw them in 2018, would that be the Hudson Valley Theater? Is that where you saw Uriah Heep last?
I saw them open up for Judas Priest in what year? When was that? That was
that's 2019.
That was 2019. That was at the Palace Theater in Albany, New York. And before that, I saw them at the Paramount Theater in Peekskill, New York. That should be on there.
Yeah, that's in there. Yeah.
I saw them
at the show February 11th.
Twice at BB King's in New York City on 2 separate tours. I saw them on Wake the Sleeper tour, and I think I saw them on Into the Wild, I think, or was it cool. It's either that or the album after, something like that. So I've seen them every time they've come over here since Wake the Sleeper. And then I the first time I saw them was in 1982 or 3 when they opened up for Blue Oyster Cult on the second album with Peter Golby, the Head First album tour. Yeah.
And how was it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
That was great show. Great show.
Well, I saw the Raisin in Silence tour, and they pretty much did, but this live album DVD almost song by song. It was great. Because they didn't have the show last year, Pete, on Uriah Heep fan page, they said how cool Mick and the guys are. They're worried about the crew. They had this Uriah Heep crew shirt that you can donate, and I went and bought it just because I know they're out of work, and I wanted to help them out because they are the one that keep the machine going. But that's the kind of person those guys are. You met them. I mean, they were so kind. They signed all my stuff. It's just an amazing people with all the stories that they went through and all the things. They never got jaded. They always so thankful of the fans that come to see them.
So amazing. Davey, I know Davey watches this show all the time. So Davey, I know you're watching. So if you get any little sparks of, from watching or hearing these 2 set lists, nudge Mick a little bit and when we do get back on the road, let's dust out some of these old classics, and maybe for the first time ever, right? So who knows? But I would definitely go to anywhere to see either 2 of these show. Well, shit, I for your weekend show, I mean, how could you miss that?
Yeah, or if I'm gonna be dreaming, mine's
right? Kind of fun. Yours is like a whole weekend of Heap. I'm like, sign me up tomorrow.
I know that. Anyway, thanks, Pete. That was fun, buddy.
That was fun. So thanks for joining, Rick. So, everybody watching, if you're a Heap fan, put in your dream set list in the comments below. Rick and I will, of course, will be going down there and checking them all out and seeing what you guys come up with. And like I said at the top of the hour, we only have 2 more of these happening. So tomorrow, my brother's coming back on the show for the first time in a while. We're going to do Dream Theater set list. And then I got kind of like a surprise for Wednesday our last day of March. We're going to do
Nice.
like a 3-band all-day festival. I'm not telling you the bands till you actually see the episode, and we're going to get full headline sets from all 3 of them. So I'm going to build those out. It'll be a big open air stadium, so to speak, type of thing. So stay tuned for that. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube.
All the damn time.
There you go. Stay tuned, everybody. Coming up next, we've got the Hudson Valley Squares. So for Rick LaBonte, I am Pete Pardo. Good night, everybody.
Take care. Long live Uriah Heep.